Is this visible to all?
No, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes. So we'll start with the prayers and then continue discussing on the Ramayana.
Yes, Prabhu ji.
You all can repeat behind me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana
ज्ञानाञ्जलशलाकया
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः.
तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः.
नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय
नमो विष्णुपादाय
कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले
कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त
स्वामिन् इति नामिने.
Swami.
स्वामिन्
नमस्ते सारस्वते देव्यै
Namaste Saraswate Devi.
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी
निर्विशेषशून्यवादी
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे.
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
प्रभु नित्यानंद
Prabhu Nityananda
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
Shri Adaita Gadadara
शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद.
Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
हरे राम
Hare Rama
राम राम हरे हरे.
Rama
राम राम हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
हरे राम हरे राम
Hare
राम राम हरे हरे.
Rama Hare Hare
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
हरे राम हरे राम
Hare
राम राम हरे हरे.
Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. So I welcome all of you for today's evening session. Today is also Vasanta Panchami. And many of them, they worship Saraswati also today. Saraswati Puja. Saraswati is the giver of the knowledge. Even some of them worship Hayagriva also, because he is also the origin of the giver of the knowledge. Once there is an incident when the Brahmaji's intelligence, the Vedas, that was stolen by the two demons, Rakshasas, by the name Madhu and Kaitava. At that time, Lord comes in the form of Hayagriva, that is in the form of the horse, and he kills these two demons, Madhu and Kaitava. Can you imagine that how they had stolen it was not that they had stolen some book or something. They had stolen the intelligence of Brahmaji. So it is subtle hacking that hacked in Indra Brahma's intelligence. But then Lord Hayagriva killed them and brought back again and gave back the intelligence to Brahmaji. Also, today they worship the Saraswati and Vasanta. Now although the Vasanta Ritu will start in around little less than 1.5 months afterwards, Yugadi onwards.
It's raining. It's rainy season, right?
No, Vasanta is not the raining season. Rainy season is
Spring season, Prabhuji.
it is the spring when now if you go anywhere in the field, you will see all the flowers starts blossoming and all the sarso means the mustard and all those things starts blossoming with all the yellow flowers. That's why today is the day when most of the places they offer the yellow flowers to the deities. So that is the Vasanta Masa, Chaitra, Vaishaka, Vasanta Rutu. There are 6 Rutus. The first one is the Vasanta Rutu. So going ahead, just a small, short, fast recap of last week's discussion that we had discussed that how when we know God, we will have peace, and when there is no God, then there is no peace in our life. I request all of you to kindly mute yourself. And we had discussed while discussing on the quality of an ideal student, we had discussed about the story of Valmiki and how he had asked about the qualities of Lord Ram. And we saw the previous life of Valmiki and how he got the name Valmiki. And also we saw the power of chanting the holy name of Krishna. And then we saw the video also. And he asked, who among the men is the most perfect? And then that time Narad Muni goes on explaining the whole thing. And eventually, okay, this also we saw that how we should be like an empty vessel, not like a filled vessel. We discussed the story of a Mridanga, the student who had told that I know Mridanga. For him, it was charged more because he has some wrong conceptions. But when we go in front of the teacher, we should be in the mood of, oh, I don't know, I want to learn. Then if the bucket is empty, then only we can put the water. If the bucket is filled, we cannot put anything in that. So that also we learned. And this activity last time we could not do. Okay. Now I'll ask all of you, can all of you tell some of the words which contain the word RAM?
Prabhuji, Balarama, Parshurama.
Yeah, Balaram, Parashuram. Even it can be English words. Like for example, I'll give tram. TRAM, tram. Tram has Ram. RAM.
Ram.
Okay.
Ram.
Prabhuji, program.
Prabhuji, rack.
Yeah, program. Correct. Gauranga said. Program.
Prabhuji, rack.
Prabhuji, Shurak.
No, RAM should be there. Program. Program has RAM.
Prabhuji, in Mahamantra.
No, those things are fine. Apart from some English words, you find out. Wherein? Sorry?
Ram, Prabhuji.
It is not
Prabhuji,
audible.
cramp.
Prabhuji,
Cram.
Gram.
Rampage.
Prabhuji, ram.
Rampage, Prabhu.
Rampage. Correct. Yes.
Prabhuji, kilogram.
Kilogram. Oh, wonderful. Yes.
Ramp, Prabhuji.
Ramp. Yes.
Program.
Through which we climb. Yes.
Prabhuji, ram.
Ram.
Prabhuji, gram.
Prabhuji, gram.
Yes. Gram. Gram is another one. Correct.
Prabhuji, cram.
Cramming. Yeah. Memorizing. Yes. Correct.
Prabhuji, cram.
Prabhuji and cramp.
Cram.
Prabhuji, rampant.
Rampant.
Prabhuji, you said cramming and
Rama.
other is cramp. P at the last. Cramp.
Cramp. Okay. Cramp. Okay. Okay. Yes. Any more?
Prabhuji,
Frame.
Prabhuji, pram.
Pram. Okay. Pram. What is pram?
Prabhuji, it's like a walker in which you put the
babies.
baby.
Oh, correct. Yes, that pram. Oh, yes. The small children are taken in that. Yes, correct.
Hmm.
Okay. Any more words?
Prabhuji, in Muslim festival Ramzan.
Oh, Ramzan. Yes, correct. Ramzan.
Prabhuji, drama.
Oh, drama. DRAM. Correct. Wonderful. Any more?
Karma, Prabhuji.
Karma. Yes. Karma. Okay.
Frame.
Sorry?
Frame.
Prem. PRAM.
Frame.
Frame.
Frame. Yes. 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 Correct. Frame. FRAM.
Crane.
Prabhuji, Kram.
What is that? Crumb.
Prabhuji means going in the same order.
Spell it.
KRAM, Prabhuji. Hindi word, Prabhuji. This is Hindi.
Acha. Crumb. Acha. Hindi word. Okay. Nice.
Prabhuji rumbled.
Rumbled. Yes. Rumbled. Like it is. All are rumbled. Correct.
Ramble, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, ramble.
Sorry. Rampant.
Ramble.
Prabhuji, ram.
Ramble. What is ramble?
Prabhuji, it's like when you're talking, you're rattling off information that others find difficult to understand.
Okay. Nice. All of you are like now churning your brain and like bringing out many words. Nice. It is said that even while taking all these words, it may be having the just in between the words RAM. It is said that one gets the benefit of chanting the Ram. There was in one of the Upanishads Puranas, it comes. Once there was a person, he was attending to the nature's call. At that time, a wild pig, which is called as a hog, which came running because it had a horn. And seeing that, he started shouting, like, no, it came very close to him, and then he started shouting in Hindi, Haram, Haram. No. Then immediately, like, no, the Vishnudutas considered, hey, he's chanting the name of Ram. So that way, by whenever anybody chants these things, that is a like the benefit they get of chanting the name of Lord Ram also. Okay. Going ahead, we discussed about the whole history of the Rompad Maharaj and how Rompad Maharaj had the drought in his kingdom, and he had requested the Rishishringa to come to the kingdom. The Rishishringa comes, and after the arrival of the Rishishringa, then eventually, Dinesh, can you mute yourself? Don't unmute. Keep it muted. Yeah. And eventually, Dashrath Maharaj also requests Rishishringa to come to his kingdom and perform the Putrakameshti Yajna for the sake of having a son. And the Rishishringa performs the yajna, and the Dashrath Maharaj gets the sweet rice, and he distributes it to the three queens. And meanwhile, the Brahmaji had ordered all the devatas to descend in the earth and appear in their different forms so that they can assist in the Leela of Lord Ram. So after all those things, now we have discussed how Lord Ram, Lakshman, and Bharat and Shatrugna, four of them were born, and how Lord Ram and Lakshman were inseparable, the same way the Bharata and Shatrugna, and their childhood, little bit of the instances of how they were learning everything under the direction of Vasishta, as well as how they had some joking times. Also, we discussed about the how they had shot the balloon of the mud which had hit the back of Mantara, and how she had got very much insulted, which goes on to burst later after 20 years. Although the mud got burst at that instance, but the envy which had built up in her mind, it got burst after almost 20 years when Lord Ram had turned around 25 years. So till there we had discussed, we'll continue from there onwards. So we'll see some of the significance of the names. Previously, in the previous ages, it is not the name and the personality would match always. It is not that the name and the personality were different. The very name Dasharatha means whose chariot can face in 10 directions, and also he could fight with 10 people at a time. If all 10 people attack at the same time, he could turn around and fight with all 10 people. Dasharatha, that was the caliber of his fighting ability. And Rama means who give pleasure to one who sees him. And darshan of Lord Ram, Lord Ram's form purifies and it inspires. So anybody who takes darshan of Lord Ram, they would become very much pleased. And as such, in the childhood, there are not many instances or leelas of Lord Ram, and all the 4 kids are there. They grow up very fast. That's what comes in the Ramayana, unlike that of the Krishna's pastime. And also the Bharata. Bharata is, the meaning of the Bharata is the material prosperity. That means anything, either the Aishwarya, that means the position of a king, or the entire being, the royalty of the kingdom, everything becomes bhara, the burden, if there is no Lord in the life. So that's what he felt like. That's why when Lord Ram went to the forest, he also didn't want to stay in the kingdom. He stayed outside. We'll discuss that in the further. And Shatrughna means he would know none of the Shatru's enemies. He would vanish or kill all the enemies. Nobody could stand in front of him. Shatrughna, that is. And Lakshmana, I could not get exact meaning. I'll try to find out. I have requested somebody to let me know. Once I come to know that, I'll let you know. These are some of the significances of all their names. So as all the 4 of them were growing, they had come to almost around the age of around 12 years, nearing to 12. At that time, one day, the great sage Vishwamitra comes to the ashram of Dashratha Maharaj. As soon as the Vishwamitra's arrival is announced, Dashrath Maharaj runs out of the kingdom, not the kingdom, the palace, to invite him. And he escorts personally and brings him, washes his feet, and takes the water on his head, because he is a saintly person. And after that, he makes him sit on his own asan. And afterwards, he inquires about him, that how are the things going on in terms of conquering all the vices. And in turn, the Vishwamitra also asks about how the things are happening in the kingdom of Dashrath Maharaj. So, and after making him seated nicely and everything, that time Dashrath Maharaj tells to Vishwamitra that please ask, how can I do something for you? I'm ready to serve you in whatever best possible way possible, to the best of my capacities. Please tell me, how can I serve? At that time, Vishwamitra tells that how he is performing different sacrifices, and there are 2 demons by the name Maricha and Subahu. And they are coming and troubling in the performance of the sacrifice. At the end of the sacrifice, they come and they destroy everything. So he says, for that reason, I want Sri Ram, and as such he asked Sri Rama to send with him for 10 days. And immediately it was like a thundering falling on the head of Dashrath Maharaj. And he says, can you please tell me who is this Maricha and Subahu? And Vishwamitra Rishi explains that how these two are the associates of Ravana. Wherever Ravana cannot come personally, that time he sends his two powerful, the demons, Subahu and Maricha, to destroy the yajnas being performed by the rishis. And he tells about their power and the strength. The moment Vishwamitra hears about Ravana, he becomes very much alarmed. He says, oh Vishwamitra Rishi, Rama is just 12-year-old small boy. What can he do? Instead of that, I will personally come. I'll come with my whole army and I will fight with him. Vishwamitra says, no, I want Rama. Then he says, if that is the case, then let Rama be there. I will also come with my whole entire army. Rama is a small boy. He's just 12-year-old. How can he fight with him? It is not possible. Just imagining that Lord Ram has to go with Vishwamitra Muni, and moreover, he has to fight with the Subahu and Maricha. He faints. He gets up. He looks, again remembers the Maricha, Subahu. He has to fight with 12-year-old Sri Ram. Again, he faints. Like that 2-3 times happens. After that, he personally again starts begging that I will personally come. So at that time, Vishwamitra becomes angry. Oh Dashrath, when you came, when you welcomed me, you said that you will fulfill my desires. Whatever I need, you'll do that. And you are not keeping your promise? Is this the way? The Raghuvamsha, you are from the dynasty of the King Raghu and like the Ikshwaku, and like no, is it the way you keep the promise of your dynasty? It doesn't befit you. So either you send Sri Ram, otherwise I'll curse you. At that time, Vasishta pacifies Dashrath Maharaj. He tells to Dashrath Maharaj that don't think that for Vishwamitra Rishi, it is difficult to kill these demons. But although he can do it, if Sri Rama goes with Vishwamitra Muni, it is for the benefit of Sri Ram. And Vishwamitra Rishi knows many astras. He has many astras, the weapons, and he has many mantras. He will teach all those things to Sri Ram. So it is for the benefit of Sri Ram. And you don't have to fear at all. In the presence of Vishwamitra, nothing will happen to Sri Ram. So you please send. Hearing the words of Vasishta, Dashratha becomes a little bit pacified. Although it was very heavy, it was painful, but he agrees to send Sri Rama and with Vishwamitra Muni. And he calls Sri Ram, and automatically, because Sri Rama and Lakshmana, they were inseparable, Lakshmana also comes running behind Sri Rama. And he tells the incidents that how he was requested by Vishwamitra Rishi to go with him to the forest. And immediately Ramachandra accepts. He says, my dear father, whatever you order, I'll take it on my head and I'll follow it. I'm ready to go with Vishwamitra Muni. So with the blessings of his father, Dashrath Maharaj, and the Vasishta, and all the great sages present, they take their blessings and they start with the Vishwamitra Muni. So Vishwamitra Muni, he starts walking towards the forest. While walking in the forest, they come across the Sarayu river. And first, Vishwamitra Muni tells to Sri Rama and Lakshmana, now please, you go and wash your hands and legs and do Achaman and come back. And I'll teach you Bala and Atibala. These are the two mantras, and by which, knowing this, having this mantra and the Siddhi, you'll never feel fatigue or no old age will come to. And they both come back and he teaches them these two, Bala and Atibala Siddhis. And then they continue walking on the bank of the Sarayu river. And there are, even in the Valmiki Ramayana, there are many description comes wherein uh, the Lord Ram takes rest. And when he takes rest, Vishwamitra was so captivated. I request all of you to kindly mute. They become so much captivated by the beauty of Divnesh. Kindly don't touch it. I'm muting you. You don't unmute. Hey, Divnesh, don't unmute. Don't touch it. I'm muting you. Don't do anything now. Okay. So at that time, it is said that Vishwamitra could not do anything but look at the face of Lord Ramachandra. And in the morning, the Suprabhata is also, it is the glorifying Lord Ram only. Like now, Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta Narashardhula Kartavyam Daivamanikam. So he glorifies Lord Ramachandra in details. Please wake up. Now it is time for us to proceed in our journey. And they start walking. While walking ahead, they come across the confluence or the meeting of Sarayu river and the Ganga river. There they see an ashram. And Lord Ram, throughout the journey, he was very inquisitive or asking the questions. He asked many, many questions. Valmiki Ramayana describes in detail about the different incidents or the questions which he asks and how Vishwamitra Rishi answers all those things. So here also a lessons for all the students that how to the degree we are inquisitive, to that degree we will learn anything. For that matter, any spiritual subjects or even in your schools, if you are more eager to learn and if you ask doubts, then only the teachers will teach you more. If you say, if you are like a filled bucket, I know, I understood, I don't want more, then no more water can come in the bucket. But if we are eager, then it is like having an empty vessel. More water can be filled. The more we are eager to know, the more we get the opportunity to learn. That's what the Bhagavad Gita also tells. In the 4th chapter, 34th verse, Krishna tells, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. That how one should inquire and then he will get the knowledge from the self-realized souls. So he asked to Vishwamitra, what is that ashram which is visible? And then Vishwamitra tells that was the ashram of Lord Shiva, and this was a place where he once the Kamadev or the Cupid had come to disturb Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva became so angry, he opened his third eye and he burned the Kamadev, the Cupid. And then they were sitting in the boat and they were crossing the river Ganga. While crossing the river Ganga, that time in the middle of the river, they start hearing the cascading. Cascading means the falling of the water. It was the middle of the water. Then Lord Rama asked, what is the sound of the water cascading? Because it is just, it should, if in the middle of the river, the water should flow. The flowing of water, the sound is different, and the cascading is in the waterfalls, that is different. That time Vishwamitra Rishi says, actually the below the place where we are now, there is a Sarovara called Manasa Sarovara, which was created from the mind of Brahmaji. Manasa, mind of Brahmaji, that is Manasa Sarovara. He created a pond and the water is flowing out of the pond, and that is the origin of the Sarayu river. And that's why you are hearing the sound of the cascading of the water. And after that, they cross the Ganga. and they come to a place which was densely thick, desolate forest. Desolate means nobody was there in that. Seeing that it was completely dark and as if nobody is staying, no animals or anything, then Lord Ram asks, what is this? Which is this place? Why it is so thick jungle? At the same time, it doesn't appear as if there are any living entities in this place. At that time, Vishwamitra tells to Lord Ramachandra how this is a place where the Indra, after killing the Vritrasura, I'll not go into the details of the killing of Vritrasura. Some other time we'll narrate that story. So he was, because of killing the Vritrasura, he had got the sin of killing. Then the Devatas, all the Devatas, they come and they bathed Indra. And before that, he had killed Vritrasura's brother also, Vishwarupa. Because of all those things, the sins which were accumulated, the water after bathing, that water was thrown in this area. That means it is a whole entire sin, Papa, was thrown in this place. That's why it became a dense forest. And Indra, because this forest accepted his sins, he gave the benediction of the boon that this place will be very prosperous. And there was two kingdoms which manifested. That was Malada and Karusha. These were the two kingdoms which manifested there.
Which two kingdoms, Prabhuji, you told?
Malada and Karusha. And it was nicely been taken care. And eventually there was in that forest one of the demoness or the Rakshasi who was wife of another demon, Rakshasa. His name was Sunda. And his wife was Tataka. They both came there, and because of their fear, everybody and everything in that whole entire forest or the area, they all vacated and went away. And both of their son is the Maricha, who is friend or who was in the party of Ravana. And at that time, Lord Ram told that, oh, it is a woman, I cannot kill. So, but Vishwamitra told, but although she is a woman, but she is harassing all the sadhus and the saints. So for that reason, you should kill her. And getting the instruction from Vishwamitra Muni, Sri Ramachandra takes the bow and he twangs it. He just pulls the string and leaves it. And it vibrates and creates such a sound. It was like shattering the heart of anybody who heard the noise. And the sound was heard everywhere in the forest. And when that sound was heard by this Tataka, she becomes very much agitated. Who is this? Who has come to my place? And she comes rushing. And seeing that these two small boys, she starts attacking them. At that time, she comes in the form of a storm of dust. It was so sudden, and she starts throwing the stones. It was like just like the rain comes, the rain drops, how it falls. The same way the stone starts falling from the sky and nowhere. Immediately Lord Rama takes out his bow and arrow, and Lakshmana also. They start shooting. They were so fast in shooting the arrows that all the stones were getting diverted and nothing was falling on them. At that time, Lord Ram says, better I'll not kill, I'll just cut her arms and the legs. And because she was having a lot of mystic powers or black magic tantras, she immediately vanished. Lord Ram shot an arrow and hit the hands of Tataka. She vanished, and again, lot of stones started falling on them. At that time, it started becoming dark, and Vishwamitra tells to Lord Ram, Rama, don't delay. As it becomes dark, their power becomes more, the Rakshasas, their strength increases because it is in the mode of ignorance, tamoguna. So don't delay, immediately kill her. Don't feel that she's a woman, but she is not a woman, she is a demon. Kill her. Immediately, Lord Ram takes an arrow and shoots, which hits the heart of Tataka, and she falls dead. If you see in the life of Sri Ramachandra as well as Sri Krishna, the first demon whom they both killed was a woman. In case of Krishna, it was the Putana, and in case of Lord Ram, it was the Tataka. So, just after that, Vishwamitra, he teaches Sri Ramachandra and Lakshmana many celestial weapons, and he gave them because previously it is not that the uh, weapons are what you can say, the gross things. It was a mantra. It was not that we have heard that there are many astras, Vayu Astra, then like no, the Agni Astra or Chandra, Sarpa, all those. It was not that while fighting, okay, they would keep searching. Oh, where is this Vayu Astra? Okay, I'll pick up this. Oh, where is that Sarpa Astra? I'll pick up. Oh, where is this? No, there is no time to search. It is all in the mantras. They would have a lot of arrows. Take an arrow and chant that particular mantra of the Agni or the Vayu or the Surya or the Chandra or Sarpa. And then chanting the mantra, you shoot that arrow, and that mantra makes that arrow gain that power. So if you see, we may have machine guns, we may have AK-47 or rifle or whatever, but we don't have this subtle the ability to do these things. That way, even though they were in that so long ago, they were much advanced than the present times. If you have a rifle, what it will do is that of that its ability will be that much only, in the sense if it can go say 50 feet, it cannot do more than that. And if you have AK-47 and if you have one magazine is the bullets, that whole stack, it can give only that much, maybe 50 or whatever is there, that much bullets only. After that, once it gets over, you have to change another one, you have to have physically. But previously it was not like that. The month you take a arrow, chant the mantra and shoot it, it will go destroy, and again it will come back and it will sit in your quiver. And you take one arrow and chant different mantra and shoot it, one arrow will become 1,000 and hit the enemies. Those were the abilities and the power which were there. So Vishwamitra taught many like different weapons and the mantras to Ramachandra and Lakshmana. So just after that, they proceed further. We'll go ahead in our PPT also. We'll see a small video of killing of the Tataka.
Prabhuji, the video is getting struck, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sorry?
Prabhuji, video is getting struck. It is
Prabhuji,
lagging and
Prabhu.
not see the getting stuck. We could not see correctly.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, I'll show it again. Is this visible?
No, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it's like
Blur,
it is
Prabhuji.
blur, Prabhuji, but video was getting too much.
not clear, Prabhuji.
It is not clear. Let us see again. Were you able to see it?
Yes, Prabhuji, we could see.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Yes.
So here also we can see that
Yes.
it was for Sri Ramachandra, it was difficult in one sense, but when he followed, he didn't wanted to kill the women, but because it was the order of Vishwamitra, he followed it. Hmm? And it was the same way when we follow the orders of our superiors, although it is difficult to follow, but it brings ultimate good for us. Many times parents may also tell certain things. Get up early in the morning. Nobody wants to leave the bed early in the morning, but if we get up, that is good for us. Although it is difficult to follow, if we follow, it is for our own benefit. The word Tataka means it is the ignorance of our true life, is the avidya, not understanding the things as they are. Just like the Tataka came, she was invisible. Nobody could see where is what. The same way, because of the ignorance or the avidya, we will not be able to see things as they are.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, a video and audio is off. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
everything is off.
So after that, they proceed ahead and they reach the place Siddhashrama, which was the ashram of Vishwamitra Rishi. And that was the place of, previously it was the place of Vamanadeva. And now Vishwamitra was staying there. And as soon as they reached, all the other, the residents of the ashrama, they come, they receive
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking. Prabhuji, your voice is breaking.
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking.
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking. Prabhuji, your voice is breaking.
and Lakarita.
Prabhuji, your voice
Hare
is
Krishna.
breaking.
Okay.
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking.
Buffering.
Is it audible now?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So after that, they start preparing for the yajna, and they start the yajna. 6 days goes, and there was no problem. Peacefully, all the rituals, everything was performed. And the sixth night, when it was done, just about to finish, the yajna was about to get over. That time, all of a sudden, there was huge sound, and the the wind started blowing, and then they got the indication that now this two demons, Subahu and Maricha, they are coming. And immediately Vishwamitra tells to Lord Ramachandra signals. And at that time, in the yajna, the place where they are performing the sacrifice, there all the nasty things like the pus, blood, urine, stool, all those things starts falling like a rain. So by all these inauspicious things, they would destroy the yajna, make it, because once it is made inauspicious, then again they have to start from the scratch. That's why they would not come in the beginning. They would not do anything. Just when it was about to end, they would come. And again they have to restart it. Every time the same thing they would happen. And although Vishwamitra Rishi, he could have killed himself, he had told to Dashrath Maharaj also I can easily kill them. But while doing this yajna, one should not become angry. And that's why I'm not doing anything. Otherwise, I can easily kill them. That's why I'm taking Sri Ramachandra. And now he tells to Ramachandra. And seeing the both of the demons, Sri Ramachandra tells, I'll not kill this Maricha because his lifespan is still there. And saying that, Sri Ramachandra, he takes a Manavastra and he shoots at the Maricha. And it hits the chest of Maricha and it throws him 100 yojanas away. One yojana is around 8 kilometers. So he was thrown around 800 kilometers away from that place. And it was a big shock for him. And he had never seen anybody so powerful. Nobody had dared to come in front of him or face him or challenge him. And again, Lord Ram took the Vayavastra and he shot Subahu and he killed the Subahu. So, and after killing the Subahu, all the Rishis, they performed the final part of the yajna. Again, they conclude the yajna. And they were happy that these both demons were killed and now they can live peacefully. And this was the Maricha was the same who later became the golden deer. And when Ravana requests him to become the golden deer, this was the incident which he tells that, oh Ravana, I have seen the power of Sri Ramachandra. When he was just 12-year-old boy, he had hit arrow and had flew so long, and that better not to face him. So just after this incident, after performing the whole yajna, then all the sages said that we are proceeding towards Mithila. So they request Ramachandra and Lakshmana also, please, we request both of you also to come with us. So while traveling from there, they come across many places, and Sri Ramachandra again he asks many questions to Vishwamitra Muni about the advent of how the Ganga came to this earth. And Vishwamitra tells the whole incident of Sagara Maharaj and how the 60,000 children were burnt to ashes by the Kapila Muni, and then how his descendant Bhagirath, he goes to the heavenly planet and requests Mother Ganga to come, and how she comes down and she says that somebody has to hold me, and how Lord Shiva holds Ganga on his jata, all those things in detail. He tells also about the Kartikeya and many more questions he tells. And while going ahead, they come across the place of the Gautama Muni's ashrama. And Sri Ramachandra also asks, oh, what is this ashram? What is the significance, or who was staying here? At that time, Vishwamitra Muni tells about the incidents of how the Gautama Muni, who was married to Ahalya. Ahalya was a very beautiful lady, and once when her marriage was supposed to happen, then there was a kind of competition or the who will marry her, that was kept because she was so beautiful that everybody wanted to marry her. Many kings and the devatas, all of them they came. Indra was also one of them. And when the in that mm, test was there, the time the test was put was that who will travel the entire globe, whoever traverses it very fast, they will get the hand of the Ahalya. And amongst them, Gautama Muni was also one of them. And Gautama Muni, he was very learned and he knew very the Shastra very nicely. When this competition was kept, all the devatas they take their own uh, what do you call the vehicles and they start. And Gautama Muni simply he goes and circumambulates a cow, and he tells the cow represents the earth. And I have circumambulated the cow, that means it is as good as circumambulating the earth. Now you should give me the Ahalya in marriage to me. And hearing that he was married to Gautama Rishi, and after that they both were staying in this ashrama. And in this, even Indra wanted to marry Ahalya. She was so much captivated by her beauty. Once Indra comes, disguises as Gautama Muni. And Gautama Muni, when he had gone for his morning performing the rituals to the river, at that time, Indra comes in the disguise as Gautama Muni. And he comes, and Ahalya, although she could sense that it is not my husband, but she doesn't say anything. And Indra comes, and Indra wanted to enjoy Ahalya. And at that moment, like he was fearful also that any moment the Gautama Muni can come. And Gautama Rishi comes back. And seeing Indra in his palace, he becomes very angry and he curses Indra. And Indra somehow escapes from there and he curses Ahalya also. That you behave like a stone as if you could not sense anything, because of which you become a stone. But at the same time, he was very compassionate. So he says, although you become a stone, eventually Lord Ramachandra will come, and when you get the dust of his feet, then again you will regain your body, and then you will come and you will join me as my wife. And saying that, Gautama Rishi goes to the Himalaya. And hearing that, Vishwamitra Rishi tells that now please keep your feet on the stone. Sri Ramachandra keeps his feet on the stone. Immediately, the stone turns into a beautiful lady, Ahalya, and she offers her pranams to Sri Ramachandra and then goes and joins Gautama Rishi. So here we can see that in science also we learn that how every action has equal and opposite reaction. The same way, here also what the mistake was done by had happened by the Ahalya as well as the Indra. So then they had to get that reactions. The same way, it is said that as you sow, so shall you reap. If you put a banana plant or a seed of a banana tree, plantain, then we'll get the banana fruit only. If you put a mango seed, we'll get a mango fruit only. We cannot expect different fruit putting different seed. So that's why we should be very careful in whatever we do, because whatever we do, accordingly we get the reactions. If we do right things, we get the right results back. If we do wrong things, we should be ready to get the wrong results. So after that, they proceed ahead to the palace of the Janaka Maharaj. They go to Mithila. In the Mithila, Janaka Maharaj welcomes all. And see, he says that there's a 12-day sacrifice which is being performed. He invites them to join that sacrifice. At that time, the chief, the main priest of Janaka Maharaj. His name was Shatananda. He comes and he welcomes all of them. And eventually he tells about the history of Vishwamitra also, that how he was a King Adi. He was also, how Vishwamitra was previously was king, and the whole incident of how he wanted to become the Rishi, and then he wanted that the cow, the Kamadhenu, and then that whole incident he tells. I'll not go into the detail. Then he tells about how he finally achieved the post of a Brahmarshi, and he glorifies Vishwamitra Muni. And after telling the whole incident of Vishwamitra Muni, then Janak Maharaj also comes and tells about the uh, life of Mother Sita, or the about Mother Sita. He tells that how while once he was wanted to do a sacrifice, for that he was plowing the land with a golden plow. At that time he gets a furrow, or the, like, no, in a under the ground he gets Mother Sita, and she was named as Sita. And as she was growing, she was very beautiful, the most beautiful amongst all the anybody on that entire planet, because she is goddess Mother Lakshmi herself. And one day, while she was playing around with her other friends, they were playing with some ball, and it went and sat on the top of a tree, and it was not coming down. They were all wondering how to take it down. They were searching for a stick. And at that time, Mother uh, Sita, she went around and she saw that there is one bow which is there. She just thought, okay, let me take it and, like, no, shake the tree and make the ball fall down. She picks it up, brings it and shakes the branch, and the ball falls down. And when this was happening, all the soldiers who were there in and around, just looking at this,
Prabhuji, it was Shiva's bow.
they all faint, because what she had lifted and brought was the Shiva Dhanush.
It
And
was
that's,
the Pinaka Dhanush.
yeah, Shiva Dhanush. It was given by Lord Shiva to the Devatas. He had given to the demigods, who had given it to one of the descendants of the Ikshvaku dynasty. His name was um, Devamrita. Devamrita. Devavrata. So from that time it was there. And all the soldiers, they run towards Janak Maharaj and they tell what they had seen. And Janak Maharaj could not believe. But they said, we, like, no, pinched ourselves to realize whether are we seeing any dream or is it real. They said it was real. And the Janak Maharaj comes and asks the small other girls who were playing with Mother Sita. They said, yes, like, no, Sita just, she lifted a bow and she shook that, which is the bow? And they showed, that is the bow. And from that day, the Janak Maharaj's anxiety increased a lot, or he became very much worried, because now that she has, at such a tender age, she has lifted the Shiva Dhanus, which would take otherwise 500 strong men to pull it on a 8-wheeled kind of a trolley, or whatever you call. 500 people had to pull that. And that single thing, like, the small girl had picked up. If that is the case, from where shall I bring a man who is more powerful than her? That became the worry of Janak Maharaj. And Janak Maharaj had told this, and that was the time even Vishwamitra also tells about the glory of Lord Ramachandra, and they were having this Swayamvar of Sita. And for that, the test was that whoever can lift that bow and string it and break it, they are the one who is qualified to marry.
Prabhuji, it was not like break, no, Prabhuji, because Lord Ram broke it by mistake.
Yes, Prabhuji, while tying the string, he broke it.
Yeah, but basically, like, he had to string it, but at that time, he had to be so powerful to do that. And that's what, even like, this is the Mother Sita's marriage. incident.
Ravana was there in the Swayamvara of Sita.
There were many demons and kings and many devatas who came, and none of them they could do that. Everybody came and everybody tried, but nobody could do that. And finally, it was Lord Ramachandra who could do that.
Prabhuji, it's getting stuck.
Okay, yeah, that much only it is short.
Yes, Prabhuji. This your screen is a bit not clear.
There is some internet glitches, so I also don't know what to do. So anyway, all understood the story. Few more
Yes,
lessons
Prabhuji.
from the incident.
Yes, Prabhuji.
This one.
Yes,
So we
Prabhuji.
discuss that next time, and eventually the Janak Maharaj sends the invitation to Dashrath Maharaj, and the Dashrath Maharaj comes to Mithila with a complete entourage, and then there was a marriage of Mother Sita with Lord Ram, and her another daughter Urmila was given to
Lakshmana Prabhuji.
Lakshmana, and
Prabhuji.
Janak Maharaj's younger brother,
Brother.
whose name was Kushadwaja, his two daughters, like
Were given to Bharat and Shatrugna.
correct. What were
Mandavi
the-
Shrutakirti was married for Shatrughna Prabhuji.
and for Bharata,
Mandavi Prabhuji.
Mandavi.
it is Mandavi, and the marriage happens. After the marriage, they were returning back. While returning back, at that time, Dashrath Maharaj sees one auspicious sign and the another inauspicious sign.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, my sister has another class. Can I
Yes.
leave?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Bye, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
And like now, at that time, Dashrath Maharaj sees one inauspicious incident of a bird screeching, and the auspicious sign of the deer going from the left side to the right side. At that time, he was worried, Dashrath Maharaj. And Vasishtha was there. Vasishtha pacifies Dashrath Maharaj and tells him what it means. There is a danger which is going to come, but don't worry, that danger is going to be, it is very easily, it can be handled, and it is not going to cause any much disturbances. And what was that incident, we'll discuss in the next session.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
So thank you.
Prabhuji.